Time for another Soccer Down Here 1v1, and we catch up with the new guy, the head coach of the new USLW franchise out of South Georgia, Tormenta, and the TFC Academy's new girls director, Jim Robbins. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, so when this idea came across the table about being a part of something new in Statesboro, I guess what were the conversations and the interest level, and who called who first, and what was the whole courting process like?
Well, I mean, the conversations were between Brad and I. They were looking for someone to come in and really help the girls program. Obviously, it's half of the job description here, and then the other half was to we can take ownership of the new USL women's program, get it off the ground, take it to hopefully level, and have the same expectations that they have for the USL 1 team and the USL 2 team. And once I heard that, I was like, I'm in. Just say, when's it start? Telling somebody the other day, these are the types of opportunities that really excite me, as a coach and as a trainer. Getting into projects from the ground level. So with the team having no history and there's no background, and this being a first year program, that for it's to really take the culture that has been built on the men's side, bring that over to the women's side, develop the roster, train the team, get them to play the way that Tormenta wants to play, I think, in all areas of the club, and build a championship caliber program right out of the gate. Like I said, I'm all in. Just let me when I start, kind of thing.
So I know that coaches and directors, they each have different kinds of personalities. Have you always been a builder, or has your personality evolved over time to where you were other kinds of personalities and grown into a builder, or have you always been a builder?
Now, if I look back on the 30 years that I've been doing this, I would honestly say that that's really been my thing. I remember going back to my first job, my first full-time job, was with the high school, back there in Pennington, New Jersey, and they had a rich history, for a long time, and then they had a couple rough years there, and then I got the call, hey, you want to come in and be the assistant for a year? And I said, yeah, I'll do that. I was young, 23 at that point, and I know like the previous 5 or 6 years, I think they had 4 wins, 5 wins, and then the head coach, he decided that he needed to move on and take some time away. They offered me the position, and in the first year we had 17 wins. So we took a program that went from pretty much nothing, and in a year, I'm not even sure to this day if the program has the 17 win mark. So like I said, it pretty much started for me at that point. I look back at some of my other college gigs that I've had, same kind of thing. The program down here in Georgia, when I first got down here, didn't have a coach for 9 months, and they just couldn't find anybody. And I put myself out there, put the application in. They called me and I said, here's what we're trying. Can you do this? And 2 years, we're in the Elite 8 of the NJCAA national tournament and produced 2 All-Americans there. Then I left to go to a Division III program that had a history in the NCAA era. Same thing. I mean, no success. And at that point, it was a combined position where the men's coach had both. And I think we all know how that goes, where who's going to get the resources, who's going to get the time dedicated to them. It's going to be the men's program. And the AD there, Coach Williamson, great guy. He basically said, hey, we're splitting it. What are you going to do? And, we took a team that was the doormat of the league for the better part of 20 years. And in 3 years, we're in the conference championship and beating a 10-time defending champ along the way. And like I said, that's sort of been my history. If I look back on it, and like I said, when this thing presented and, a chance to really start it from nothing, like I said, I was like, yeah, I'm in. Because there is no track record, there is no history. It's like I said, it's a chance for me to build it in the likeness and the vision of Tormenta 1 and 2 look like, which uniquely enough and ironically enough is exactly the same vision that I have. They play the same way that I like to play. The cultures are almost identical. So like I said, it checked all the boxes and then some. And then you add on the fact that they're building a new stadium down there, and you're going to have a premier venue for all their teams to play in. And the other day, I remember way back when, and to some degree still, the girls' game, the women's game, outside of when the women's national team is playing, you don't get a lot of fans. It's 50 people. It's your relatives are coming to watch you play. So I'm hoping that everybody down there is really support this team. Obviously we have to do our successful and put a good product on the field. If we do that, yeah, I'd love for there to be 5,000 people out here supporting these women down in Statesboro. That would be awesome. What a great thing for them.
In the conversations that we've had at SDH over the years with Darren and anyone else that's been attached to the Tormenta program, you're in Statesboro as your hub, but really when you're looking at Statesboro, and I know that a lot of folks attach Georgia Southern University to it and such, really you're in the spoke of a wheel in an interesting place when it comes to the state of Georgia, where we've seen soccer across the board grow over the last handful of years. You look at Ian Cameron and what he's been able to do at Mercer, and everybody knows what goes on in Central Georgia when it comes to high school and the college game. And then you have what's going on in Savannah and the Low Country with Charleston and such. And then you have what's going on there in Statesboro. And then in the high school ranks, where you have some of the most prolific scorers on the girls' side in high school who've been in Vidalia over the last handful of years. And so it's a really unique footprint that Tormenta are in there in Statesboro. And while, starting something from the ground up, obviously there's a great challenge and there's going to be a lot of fun and interest in building something there. You're in a really unique footprint where the growth of the game has been over the last handful of years. No,
absolutely. And we were talking about that the other day, that, the radius and the reach of Tormenta is, it's exceptional right now. Some of the areas that I've worked in, in my past, you're out of Mercer County, New Jersey, there's a hotbed for soccer in that area, but, still it's Mercer County. And then what do you have outside of that? And then, obviously the Metro Atlanta area is sort of broken up into different segments here. I spent a little time in Fargo, same kind of thing, North Myrtle Beach. Then you go down there, and the radius is a couple hundred miles, if not more, and the ability to attract players, from all those different areas, I think is, I guess kudos to ownership for deciding that, hey, we think we can build something special in this area that is going to encompass a lot of people. That's great. So, like I said, my job is to try to find and identify that talent and bring it into the program from a player's perspective. And like I said, hopefully we can get the support that we are looking for, that I think the girls and the women deserve from that area, where we're getting good crowds out there, getting good fan support, getting some excitement at that new stadium. And like I said, my goal, when Darren showed the footprint and the infrastructure out last week, is like, we want 5,000 people there. If we could do that, that would be awesome. And like I said, I think the girls themselves, they deserve it, bar none.
Do you remember what your first conversations with the Van Tassels were like? Because they certainly do have a whole lot of emotional gravity, for lack of a better phrase. Because when you have a conversation with them, they instantly draw you into what's going on in Statesboro, draw you in with Tormenta. They are very, very electric people who really can hit home what everything means to what they're trying to accomplish there. What were those first conversations like?
No, the first conversations, first and foremost, very professional. And like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years, but that was the first thing that struck me was how professional they are in their approach to doing their business and running their business, and how professional they are in how they treat their staff, and how welcoming they were to me, as I don't know them from anybody, and now all of a sudden we're a few weeks into this, and I feel like I've known them forever. And like I said, when Darren was taking, my wife joined us last week for the visit down there, when he was taking us around to do the site visit, I felt like I told Jocelyn after, I said, I felt like I was going around with the mayor. Really, that's how, I guess, proud he was, and he was about really what momentum is building up down there with the whole program, with the relationship to college, and he was talking about where the university sees their numbers going forward and the such. And I was like, wow, this definitely sounds like the place to be for a lot of reasons, not just for the sporting reason, but for a lot of reasons.
All right. We all have, and this is a question I like to ask coaches and general managers and things like that when we get into franchises, but I know we all have to-do lists. Where is yours? Because some folks have it on their phone where they can just, bring out a little stylus and sit there and write notes down. Could be on a Word doc on your computer, could be on a magnet on your fridge, could be a big dry erase board somewhere off to the side from where I'm looking at you right now. Where is that to-do list? How big is it? And what are some of the things that you need to knock off here? What are those couple of first things that you need to start scratching off of that list so you can get some things accomplished?
Right. Now, for me, like we said at the top, I'm as old school as they come. I mean, I am a pen and paper kind of person. My wife laughed at me the other day. I was printing something off of the printer here, and she's like, "What is it?" So I like to do print a calendar, blank calendars, so I can write in there exactly where everything needs to be, and sort of plan my life like that. But for me, that's it. I'm as old school as they come. In terms of what are the major items for me, I mean, first and foremost is get myself down there. I mean, we're in the process of selling the house, and we were boxing stuff up the last couple of days. So we're going to have to go and do the move in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be first and foremost from a personal perspective. Professionally, it's really going to be, we got to start getting the roster built for this team. And I have a good handful of contacts in the women's game from my time there that within a week or so, I'm going to be reaching out to as many people as I know who are geographically in that area as well as outside that area, and say, hey, here's what we're trying to do. Here's the vision for the program. Who do you have? Who do you have? Do you think can culture, who can fit into the style of play, who is looking for an opportunity to play the game, at a fairly high level on the women's side, with the goal of this, and this, whether it's get back to the college program in the fall, fully ready, fully fit to fit into your program, whether you're nationally ranked, whether it's prepare them for NWSL, whether it's prepare them for some type of pro contract overseas. Those are the things that we're trying to do. So, it's going to be work, but like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about the chance to build that roster. I already know from talking to Brad and Darren and everybody down there that there's some great kids, great girls, great young women who are Tormenta players or ex-players, are going to come and command roster spots right away. But I think we still have to fill out that with other players from throughout the region and potentially throughout the country. And I wouldn't discount anybody internationally at this point either.
So has your phone been ringing off the hook and your emails increased exponentially ever since this announcement was made?
It's been a little crazier than I expected. I've been on a good handful of interviews now, and it's been a few years since I've done those. So that was something that sort of surprised me, but I guess kudos to the club that, they do a great job of letting everybody know, what's going on down there. And it looks like the relationship between the club and media outlets in a lot of different areas is very, very strong. So that, once again, fantastic for them and for all the kids and everybody who's associated with the program. I've got a couple calls from some old college playing buddies. I was on a call today with a guy who, we played together at Lafayette, graduated in 1992. He's calling me saying, hey, here's what's going on. I heard about what happened, and he lives up in Long Island. So it's been a little crazy, and I expect it to get even crazier in the next couple of weeks, especially once I get down there full time.
When it comes to the particular kind of player that you're looking for to be a part of the program, and this is a two-pronged idea. You have the individual that's going to represent Tormenta on the field and the person that's going to represent Tormenta off the field. When it comes to this kind of individual, what kind of person are you looking for?
Well, for me, I mean, even without you asking that question, that's the type of person that I'm looking for, in terms of a fit for me for any that I work with. What do they look like as a soccer player? The soccer side is, for me, first and foremost, need to be strong technically as a player. So, I look at players and go, okay, what's their technical level? If they can do those kind of things, handle the ball, make good passes, perfect. I like players who are versatile and who can think fast. So there's got to be a decision-making component to that as well. We'll say this on the record. I'm not one of these who just give me a great athlete and I'll turn him into a soccer player. That's not my stance. I want soccer players who are good thinkers, is what I'm looking for. Off the field, I'm looking for people, ambassadors to the game, who are good role models in the community. Like I told somebody a couple years ago at an interview, I'm looking for the person who is willing to hold the door for the person behind them when they're going in the store and not let that door close in that person's face. Well, are they willing to clean up after themselves if they're eating a meal at a restaurant? Those are the type of people that I'm looking for. Because at the end of the day, are these women, are they going to be playing soccer full time for money? for the rest of their lives? No, it's a finite window all these athletes have. At some point, they're going to have to go back and be fully functioning members of society. And we want them to be positive members. And those are the things that I look for, that I value. And a lot of that has come from the fact that, I'm now 51 years old. I have two sons who are 22 and 21 who have played through the highest levels of the game, and one who still aspires to be a professional. And I would want them to do those kind of things and behave like that and be that type of person too off the field, if that makes sense.
It does. And so that kind of leads me into my next Van Tassel question. Since you were discussing what you were looking for in an individual, when you had your first sit down with Darren and Nitra, did they explain to you about the cell phone in the box and how players are supposed to put that in a box and have a meal with their teammates and have interpersonal communication?
No, he did. So at that point, I was like, hey, somebody else thinks like me. I thought it was just me. But no, it was great to hear, because sometimes you scratch your head and you go, am I the only one that looks at these things and says that's important? So it's good to hear, that someone else values that as well. And I told him, I can't tell you how many stories that, where I've been with these college teams and the USL 2 teams and such, where you go on these road games, whether it's men or women, you're going on the road games, you're having a team meal, and one of your teammates is sitting directly across from their teammate at the team meal, and they're both on their phones. And you find out, like, who are you texting? Oh, we're texting each other. Like, just talk to them. They're literally 2.5 feet in front of you. Talk to them. So, like I said, it reassured me that, I'm not the one that just thinks that that's unusual behavior or an unusual ask of a modern day athlete.
When you look at the game, has it surprised you how it has grown and evolved almost exponentially in the last decade? Or as you were coaching in all of your different stops and being associated with MOBA Academy and things like that, were you able to look back and see the game continue to grow and evolve to where it is now? Or has it surprised you how it seems to have exponentially just caught fire?
No, I don't surprise me at all. But I mean, the good thing is I'm glad that it has, and I know a lot of that is attributed to, like, when we grew up playing, and we're talking I don't want to date myself, mid 70s, late 70s, early 80s, who were our coaches? Who were the ones who were teaching us? It was our dads, somebody else's parent. And it was typically someone who didn't have their own experience in the game, right? Now, all of a sudden, who do our kids have? I mean, they have ex-professionals. They have coaches with every coaching certification that you can get in this country or over in Europe or over in Asia. You have, so those are the people who are bringing to life for these kids. So, what great role models to have, at the end of the day. Like I said, in my career as a player, I mean, other than, one college coaches who had an A license, I don't know if anybody else that I had along the way had, anything other than I played a little bit, or I read something in a book kind of thing. But now all of a sudden, with all the opportunities that these kids have with resources and so on and so forth, it doesn't surprise me. And like I said, it's fantastic to see, really, because this is the only game that I've really ever played, and I love it. And it's obviously given me the opportunity to, to pursue a 30, hopefully 30 plus, 40 plus coaching career and earn a decent living doing that. So, I mean, if I can give back in any way, shape to these kids too, I mean, that's all I'm trying to do at the end of the day. But like I said, great for them to be able to, have this, and hopefully we're able to pass on the same love and joy, onto the kids that we work with, that was able to be done for us, I guess, over the course of the years, if that makes sense.
The newest addition to the Tormenta Magenta on the touchline, the new head coach for the USLW League and the TFC's Academy new girls director, Jim Robbins. Coach, thanks for hanging out with us for a Soccer Down Here 1v1. We'll be keeping an eye on that to-do list, keeping an eye on what's going on in Statesboro, keeping an eye on the W League and everything going on down there with Tormenta. Thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1.
Thank you again. My pleasure. Look forward to seeing everybody out at the fields.